lifeless body had snagged. The current had dragged her pale, thin body a good distance before depositing her at this spot. It had taken 8 hours and 23 minutes for the search teams to find her. Rowan had known her sister was dead before the call had come that Raven had gone missing. Her parents had rushed to help with the search, leaving a neighbor with Rowan. She had stood at her bedroom window, watching for their return. The house had felt completely empty, and Rowan had understood that her life would never be the same after that day. No matter that nearly 3 decades has passed since that sultry summer day, she could still recall the horrifying feel of the final tug, and then the ominous release of her sister's physical presence. She shifted her gaze from the water to the sky. Last night the temperature had taken an unseasonable plunge. Blackberry winter, the locals called it. Whether it held some glimmer of basis in botany or was merely rooted in folklore, blackberry bushes all over the county were in full bloom. Rowan pulled her sweater tight around her. Though today was the first time she had come to this place since returning home from Nashville, the dark water was never far from her thoughts. How could it be? The lake swelled and withdrew around Winchester like the rhythmic breath of a sleeping giant, at once harmless and menacing. Rowan had sneaked away to this spot dozens of times after her sister was buried. Other times she had ridden her bike to the cemetery and visited her there, or simply sat in Raven's room and stared at the bed where she had once laid her head. But Rowan felt closest to her sister here, near the water that had snatched her life away like the merciless talons of a hawk descending on a fleeing field mouse. "You should have stayed home," Rowan murmured to herself. The ache, no matter the many years that had passed, twisted in her chest. She had begged Raven not to go to the party. Her sister had been convinced that Rowan's behavior was nothing more than jealousy, since she hadn't been invited. The suggestion hadn't been entirely unjustified, but mostly, Rowan had felt a smothering dread, a panic that had bordered on hysteria. She had needed her sister to stay home. Every adolescent instinct she possessed had been screaming and restless with that looming sense of trepidation. But Raven had ignored her sister's pleas and attended the big barbecue and swim party with her best friend Tessa Cardwell. Rowan Dupont died that day, and Rowan had spent all the years since wondering what she could have done differently to change that outcome. Nothing. She could not rewrite history any more than she was able to change her sister's mind. Rowan exhaled a beleaguered breath. At moments like this, she felt exactly as if her life was moving backward. She'd enjoyed a fulfilling career with the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department as an advisor for the Special Crimes Unit. As a psychiatrist, she had found her work immensely satisfying, and she had helped to solve numerous homicide cases. But then, not quite 2 months ago, everything had changed. The one case that Rowan didn't recognize had been happening right in front of her, shattering her life, and sending everything spiraling out of control. The life she had built in Nashville had been comfortable, with enough intellectual challenge in her career to make it uniquely interesting. Though she had not possessed a gold shield, the detectives in the Special Crimes Unit had valued her opinion and treated her as if she was as much a member of the team as any of them. But that was before. Before the man she admired and trusted proved to be a serial killer. A killer who'd murdered her father and an MNPD officer, as well as more than 100 other victims over the past several decades. A mere 1 month, 22 days, and about 14 hours ago, esteemed psychiatrist Dr. Julian Addington emerged from his cloak of secrecy and changed the way the world viewed serial killers. He was the first of his kind, incredibly prolific, cognitively brilliant,